risked their lives so the world could see the truth. In the turbulent swirl of the American South during the 1950s and 60s, a new kind of soldier emerged, not armed with guns, but with cameras. These photographers stood on the front lines of history, capturing moments of courage, pain, and hope. Through their lenses, the civil rights movement found its voice, its urgency etched in black and white, in stark contrast to the violence and injustice that stained the land. These images did more than document. They pierced the veil of silence, demanding that the nation confront its own conscience. This is the story of the photographers who dared to witness, who braved threats and brutality, so the world could see the unvarnished truth of a people's struggle for freedom. The camera became a weapon of change. In a segregated South, where words were often ignored or twisted, photographs carried a weight that no speech or march could match. From the dusty streets of Montgomery to the sunlit fields of Mississippi, photographers moved silently, yet deliberately. They captured the defiant young faces of freedom riders, the tear-streaked eyes of mothers at protests, and the raw chaos of police dogs and fire hoses unleashed upon unarmed demonstrators. Their images were smuggled into newspapers, magazines, and television broadcasts, breaking through the walls of indifference. Each photograph was a testament, not just to what was happening, but to what must no longer be allowed to happen. One of the earliest and most iconic figures in this visual revolution was Charles Moore. A white Southerner himself, Moore's journey began with an assignment to cover racial violence in Birmingham, Alabama. There he witnessed scenes so brutal they seared his conscience. His photographs of peaceful protesters blasted by high-pressure fire hoses and attacked by snarling police dogs shocked the nation. These images, published in Life magazine, forced many Americans to confront the grim reality of segregation. Moore's work was not merely reportage, it was a moral reckoning. He risked harassment, threats, and physical danger to ensure that these moments were not erased or forgotten. But Moore was not alone. Gordon Parks, a pioneering African-American photographer and filmmaker, used his camera to illuminate the broader tapestry of racial injustice. Parks understood that the fight for civil rights was not confined to a single city or event. It was woven into the very fabric of American life. His photographs for Life magazine chronicled poverty, discrimination, and the quiet resilience of black communities. Parks' work carried a profound empathy, revealing the dignity behind the struggle. As the first African-American staff photographer at Life, he broke barriers not only with his images but with his presence, opening doors for others to wield the camera as an instrument of change. In the heat of the Freedom Summer of 1964, a new generation of photographers emerged, many of them young and deeply committed to justice. They followed the Freedom Riders, risking arrest and violence, to document the courage of activists challenging segregation on buses and in courthouses. Their photographs captured the tension and terror, the moments when brutal resistance met unyielding hope. James Corrales, a young photographer for Look magazine, stood alongside the marchers on the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma, Alabama. His haunting images of that day became etched into the collective memory, a visual record of a nation on the brink of transformation. But the act of photographing was itself a perilous undertaking. Cameras made their bearers targets. In Mississippi, the home of the infamous Ku Klux Klan, photographers were shadowed by threats and violence. The murder of 3 civil rights workers in 1964 underscored the deadly stakes. Photographers like Danny Lyon, who embedded himself with the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, faced intimidation and brutality. Yet they persisted, knowing that without their images, the stories of sacrifice, injustice, and hope would remain hidden. Their photographs became silent witnesses, refusing to let the world look away. Photographs from the movement also found their way into the homes of ordinary Americans, sparking empathy and outrage. The stark images of dogs biting children and policemen wielding clubs shattered the illusions of a peaceful, unified country. They revealed the fractures beneath the surface, the chasm between American ideals and American realities. Television, still in its infancy, broadcast these images into living rooms, making the distant struggle immediate and personal. The power of visual journalism in the civil rights movement was unprecedented. It turned spectators into participants and indifferent citizens into activists. The photographers did more than capture chaos. They revealed humanity. Their images showed the tenderness of a mother cradling her child amidst a protest, the determination etched on the faces of young marchers, and the quiet moments of solidarity between activists. These photographs told stories of ordinary people who dared to dream of justice, who stepped onto the streets despite the risks. They connected viewers to the soul of the movement, transcending headlines and statistics. Through light and shadow, focus and frame, these visual storytellers made history palpable. One cannot speak of civil rights photography without honoring the work of Ernest Withers. Known as the Dean of Black Photographers, Withers documented decades of struggle in Memphis and beyond. His images range from the Montgomery bus boycott to the sanitation workers' strike that called for dignity and respect. Withers' photographs carry an intimate knowledge of the communities he served. His lens captured not only the public battles, but the private moments of resilience and sorrow. Withers reminds us that the movement was not just a series of events, but a lived experience woven into everyday life. The legacy of these photographers extends far beyond the civil rights era. Their work laid the foundation for photojournalism as an agent of social change. They taught the world that photography is not neutral. It is a choice, a perspective, a call to witness. Their images continue to inspire new generations to use visual storytelling as a means of justice. Museums, archives, and classrooms now preserve their work, ensuring that the lessons of courage and resistance remain vivid. The photographs are not relics, they are living testaments, urging us to remember and to act. Yet, the act of remembering also demands reflection. The photographers themselves grappled with the ethics of representation, how to honor the dignity of their subjects while exposing harsh realities. Some struggled with the weight of their own privilege, others with the emotional toll of witnessing violence. Their stories remind us that the camera is not merely a tool, but a responsibility. It is a means to bear witness, to amplify voices, and to challenge injustice. The civil rights photographers embraced this burden, transforming their craft into a beacon of truth. Today, as we look back through their lenses, we confront the past and its echoes in the present. Their photographs remind us that the fight for civil rights is ongoing, that the struggle for equality continues in new forms. The images demand vigilance, empathy, and action. They call on us to recognize that the quest for justice is not bound by time, but is a perpetual challenge to the conscience of a nation. In honoring these photographers, we honor the movement they captured, the roots of a renaissance still growing strong. They risked their lives so the world could see the truth. The photographers of the civil rights movement did more than freeze moments in time. They opened eyes, stirred hearts, and changed history. Through their courageous documentation, they ensured that the story of freedom's fight would never fade into silence. Their legacy is etched not only in photographs, but in the enduring spirit of justice they helped to ignite. This is their gift to us, a visual testament that the arc of history bends toward equality, guided by the unflinching gaze of those who dared to witness. This has been Roots Renaissance. See you in the next chapter.